It's a computer game my son's been playing
I'm going to say
for the last month, and it's driving me absolutely nuts.
it's either an Australian thing or yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show VCQ. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello. Welcome. It is the 18th of February. In the UK, it's nearly spring, and things have started to happen.
It has.
Which is nice. The days are getting longer.
Yep.
Happy, happy, happy.
Warmer.
Slightly.
Ice has melted.
Yeah. My roses have started more on the march in the garden. If anyone knows anything about roses, all the advice says prune after the last hard frost, which is ridiculous because in April that could be April in the UK.
Yeah.
And they're already like that big by then. So if anyone's got any advice on that, I'd like it.
Gardening hour.
Oh, don't go on the internet, mate. It's worse than it's worse than camera.
Is it?
Forums onto this. We're talking about the video that went out on Friday the 15th of February, which was the Strymon Volante. And Daniel, stand up and take a bow, please. you have to do this. Come on. The praise for your playing, mate, was, I think we had more praise than we've ever had. Deservedly so.
That's very kind.
Hundreds of comments including Rig Gear Demo. I think that was a bit of a plug for his channel there. Jonathan R. Zeko, Valkyrie maybe, Chris Ellis, Tom Chabowski, N2F1, Mads Movo, and Alessandro DiCarli, among countless others.
That's very, very, very kind. So guys who have been watching the show for a long time, there's something that happens, and hopefully this is a really good example of it, is that when you connect with the sound, things can happen.
It's when it comes out, isn't it?
Yep. And that's just, the delay thing and that tape thing, and whenever we use the 201, just things start to happen. And certainly I really connect with that.
But the Volante
sound.
brought that out of you as well.
Absolutely.
Which was a real revelation, I think.
Yeah. It's amazing. And in the same way, it was what was really fascinating, comparing it to the Belly Pock Deluxe.
Belly Pock. The
Belly Pock. And the preamp in that, and how that brought something else out as well.
Yeah.
And so that's, but hopefully it just reiterates that thing that when you connect with the sound, that's when things start
everything.
to channel.
It's a really interesting take on that tone is in the fingers rubbish that everyone always says. Sure, individual players sound like individual players, but unless the sound is inspiring you, it will never come out. And I think the thing to take away from that is whenever your head is down and you're trawling through gear and you're like, oh God, am I going to buy another pedal to try and... When you find it, your playing gets twice as good.
Yeah.
And it totally does.
Yep.
So anyway, that's what we bang on about week in, week out, going, I'm not really sure about the sound of that, because it's not...
Absolutely.
Drawing it out, is it?
Yeah. It's a... we talk about that being, it's a cyclic thing. It starts here and comes out of your hands into the amplifier, but then it comes back into you listen back to it. And if it doesn't excite you and doesn't reinvigorate what's going on soulishly, then that cycle stops.
Soulishly. There's a t-shirt. Okay, yeah, so well done, mate. It's absolutely killer, and lots of people want to hear more of that in the future, so we will do our best. However, we need something to balance all that praise down. And Craig Brown was less keen. He said, much as I love your vids, 1 hour and 15 is a little bit overkill.
Well, Craig, there's plenty of other fish in the sea, as they say.
Loads of other people said, could this video please be 3 hours long?
Yeah, right. Okay, so lots of people expressed preferences for their favourite sound of the day. The RE201 was, as I said, there's a certain magic about that thing. Lots of love for the Belly Pock Deluxe. And Dice has said, simply the best gear show on the internet.
Thank you.
I think the Volante sounds boring compared to the Boonar. I guess I'll just wait for the next version of the Boonar.
Boring?
No. Wow.
There was quite a lot of people that said, "Oh, Strymon just sounds all digital," and I would literally be first in that queue normally.
Right.
And there was definitely, I mean, I can always tell compared to an analog unit.
Yeah.
There's something in that high end that's just there, and it's got a tiny bit of that, but blimey, what you get in addition to all of that, the functionality and the sound and everything else and the possibility of it, just it completely negates that.
It's a unit that if you're into delay and you could invest a week of sitting down with it to truly understand.
Yeah.
Because the thing that I noticed when we were with Pete, and the layout is simple, so it doesn't take you long to get into it.
Even me.
But with Pete Shelley, when we were at NAMM, and it took him 20 minutes to quickly go through all the stuff that it did. And I was sat there with my mouth open most of the time, just thinking, this is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So if you're into delay and you took the time to invest into understanding and to get the most out of that, because remember, it's based around drum delay and tape delay. So it's not that you've got 10 million different types of delays.
Yeah.
It's the functionality within those sounds.
Yeah.
Just outrageous.
And you can do that. I mean, with any multifunction delay pedal, you can spend ages getting into it and learning it. And once you learn it, you can really use it expressively.
Yeah.
I'm literally never going to do that with a timeline ever in my whole life.
Sure.
My life's not long enough.
Sure.
But with that, 2 hours with that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because it's all there on the top panel.
Yeah. So
anyway, let's get into some more specific questions. A handful of people asked this, including Matthew McCulloch. But William Sanderson actually asked this question, which is about how to approach the Volante if you use it in stereo using 2 amplifiers. He says, William says, I use a Radial Big Shot ABY box to manage my 2 amp output, allowing me to control phase and isolation, which it does very well. What's the best way to manage amp phase and ground isolation on the output of a stereo pedal like the Volante? So let's say you're running... Behind us, we've got Hot Rod Deluxe and we've got a Super Black Magic. So if you were just coming out of the Volante and going into there, how would you do that?
Okay, so ABY pedals are great when you're switching between amplifiers. But in a stereo setup, those 2 amplifiers are going to be on all the time.
Yeah.
So so the issue there is that if you get an earth loop from the earths being joined at the stereo output, and also if you have phase problems with the amplifier, your ABY will have an isolated output, and that isolated output will have, I think, did he say the...
Radial Big Shot.
Radial Big Shot, so that does have phase reversal as well. So you would just put that on one of the outputs, and that will isolate that output and phase reverse. But then, obviously, you're losing the opportunity to switch amps on and off. But if you're running stereo, you want them both on the whole time. Yeah,
the point being that if they're not the same amp, one of them might be out of phase, so you need an option on one of those outputs to flip the phase.
Sure.
And I don't know if there's a... Oh, that'll be my phone left on. I better turn that off.
Okay, so quite a few people, including String Singer, Jake Day, Evan Harris, Black Vickery, Dominic Von Riedman, and Southpaw 335 would have liked to have seen the Boss RE20 or DD500 in the mix here.
Yes, the RE20 came up a lot, actually. We had a Space Echo, so why did we use the Bell Epoch instead of an RE20?
Right.
We chose the Bell Epoch because it's definitely among the best tape delay simulators in a pedal.
Yeah.
The
RE20 pedal that you connected with.
Yeah.
And I think that was important to get that as well.
Yeah, but we should... Boss in the UK, hello Matt and the gang there, they have, actually Boss Europe I should say, have offered to lend us all their Space Echoes.
Yeah. So
from 201 all the way through, and so we should do that with an RE20. We did it briefly in Germany and decided that, the RE20 is great, but it's clearly no RE201, is it, in terms of fidelity?
What is?
Yeah, this will get more relevant as we go on through the questions.
Okay. On the Road says, he says, we the poor would have loved to have seen the Fox Gear Echo 6 Baby thrown in the mix.
We were really impressed with the Echo 6 Baby when we did it in Pick and Mix. The only thing is it's become intermittent. There's a fault with it.
Oh, no.
And I don't know whether that's a power thing or whether I need to spend a bit more time with it. But I was going to put that on my board because I thought it sounded spectacularly good in a small package for not much cash. So I need to just double check that. To be fair to Fox Gear, what often happens with new runs of products is people in the media get sent the first runs, and quite often there are little tweaks that get done after the first run.
Right.
You know, they'll run out a few, send them to the media, and then sometimes that's not an uncommon thing for new product when it's released.
Okay.
Especially if they don't have a very long beta testing program in place.
If the media is the beta testing program.
Yeah. Sure. I'm speculating now when it comes to Fox Gear. Dan Peabody, hello Dan. How do you have the colour driver set, and what are the settings used on the D&M drive? So we had two overdrives in that video. One was the colour driver, one was the D&M drive. And how do we have the colour driver set? We had it set clean, didn't we?
Yeah, pretty clean. The gain was quite low, master volume up. There's so much output on that thing, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, didn't have a lot of gain.
The bass and treble controls were about in the middle. Mm-hmm. The gain was almost all the way down, like 8 o'clock.
Right.
And we were adjusting the master volume. And then sometimes the gain went up to about 10 o'clock. But we were using it really as a clean boost. The reason for that being it has quite an aggressive treble and high end, and it really pushes all of that, so you can hear all of that up there. And it works great as a clean boost, actually, if you've got the master volume on it.
Yep.
D&M drive, Dan, how did you have that set?
I think it's my side into your side is the best way I can describe that without...
See, airplane mode's on.
Right, okay. But you connect it to Wi-Fi.
Right. So you have to turn Wi-Fi off as well?
In airplane mode, you should have the ability to turn...
No, Wi-Fi's off.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's the Chinese government.
Yes, because it is a Hawaii.
Yeah. Is how you say it. That's how I've started to say it now. Sorry, yeah, so you're into me, as usual.
Yep,
I think gain was at about, if I remember rightly, about 10 o'clock on your side and about 9 o'clock on my side, so very low.
Yeah. But because you're stacking the gain size, they sort of the way they work dynamically.
And as I said to you in the comments, Dan, you can actually see it on pedal cam, but I think as you replied, you're watching on a phone, so you can't really see it very well.
Right. Okay.
Please, if you get the opportunity, stick some headphones on.
Yeah.
There's loads of people watch that video not wearing headphones, which is like.
One guy commented that had been watching the show for years, and this week he put on some in-ears and watched it and just went, "Whoa!" Forrest Hale says, anyone know the song Mick Quotes at 1 hour, 1 minute and 20 seconds? It's been bugging me for 2 days now.
It's Lenny by Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I've been playing it all the time recently, as I've been playing the opening lick of Brush with the Blues by Jeff Beck, because, I don't know, I just get something in my head and that's all I can play.
Is that what you played through the new Turok in LA?
It's where it...
Yeah,
that thing.
That one. That's it. Because you played that through that, what's it called? The crazy 150 watt thing.
String singer signature Sterling signature.
Sterling, okay.
Yeah.
And sort of all the movement around the turret booth has sort of stopped and went, oh.
Yeah. I don't know if he played it through that. Anyway, it's on Texas Flood. It's called Lenny, and it's a beautiful instrumental piece by Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Cool.
Christopher Clement. Actually, Christopher did praise the show, and then he says, my only minor tweaky quibble, when you were matching the RE201 and the Volante, you didn't match the heads properly. So you never got the right gallop on the Volante that you had on the RE201.
We do what we can.
We do what we can. Yeah, you're sat here, the camera's going, it's 100 dB. It needs to be done in 1 hour and 30. So we try and keep it moving. But yeah, good point. If my ears were better, maybe it would have been better.
We have 2 interesting questions from Heath Annette. 1, are the Volante's presets only accessible via MIDI? And 2, with some of the SOS looping you were doing at the end, so sound on sound looping, is it possible to capture and save it for later, or is it only usable in the moment? Okay, interesting.
presets, I think you can do some combination of foot switching and select a few, can't you?
Yeah.
Can you?
I'm not 100% sure.
You can on the timeline.
Right, so they must be able to do something like that.
Yeah. We don't. We had it literally for 2 days, so we had to do it and send it back.
It arrived and went. So yeah. The Salmon Sound. No, I don't think so, because it's not a loop.
Yeah.
It's literally it works the same way as the Salmon Sound does on a tape. So if you imagine on a tape delay, what happens is your player records it onto the tape, but then there's an erase head. The Salmon Sound basically removes the erase head, so it just keeps that going. And what happens is it degrades as it keeps playing. So, yeah,
it's not like a loop pedal where you can store loops.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and some loop pedals, I think, if you put the loop in there and then you turn it on 3 months later, the loop's still in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which might be useful, but only if that's the loop that's stored in there. So you can't use it in the way that you're saying, i.e. have a bank of stuff that you recall for use. It's much more an on-the-fly thing.
Right. Jolly97 says, Dan, what is
Dan!
Dan! What is that beautiful chord? Oh, God, this is a really massive tangent.
It's this chord. It's the E chord, which has got...
Oh, okay.
That one.
Right, so... it's an E major 7 chord, but the voicing, it has the ninth in it as well. So if you imagine... There's your E. I'm E flat.
Just so they can follow you at home.
Oh, okay. Right, so E major 7 chord. So E major chord. Now I'm moving the tonic here up to the ninth, and then I'm putting the major 7th, which is the E flat here, and then you get this great interval between the high E and the E flat there.
Semitone. It's really nice. Would you mind just playing each string in turn and saying what the notes are?
So we've got the E, we have the E flat, the G sharp here, which is the major 3rd. We have the F sharp here, which is the 9, the B, which is the 5th, and the E again.
There you go, as you called. Now then, the ratios. I got it completely wrong with the ratios. I should have known this because I read the manual, and quite often when you're in a hurry doing things, the words go in, but the information doesn't.
It wasn't the golden hour ratio.
No, Casey Musgraves and all your Grammys. It was... So on the Volante, it's got a silver ratio and a golden ratio, and like a total idiot, I said, "Oh, I wonder if it's because they're a silver and gold Echo Rex." It's not. It's maths. It's the gold. It's used in art. It's used in architecture. It's used in design. This golden ratio of 1.61 something or other, and Cheese Cone, Jeffrey Raddick, Robert Simpson, Octacillo Alvarez.
Nice.
You sound cool. Russ Hicks and our good friend David Dyke, among many, 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 many others, pointed this out. So thank you for the clarification. Google it. I should know this, having worked with designers for so many years, because they're always drawing circles on the screen going, look at this golden ratio, it's a beautiful thing. It happens in nature and flowers and stuff.
Right, okay, cool.
And it's to do with the pattern of the repeats.
Chris Malin says, where is a good place to put the RE201 in the chain? Before or after the pedal board or in the effects loop? The RE201 after the pedal board causes the input meter to spike and can sound overdriven. Cheers from Michigan. I'm sorry, there's a little burp I had to hold back there like that.
It was well held.
Classy, Dan. If you've got a high output pedal board and you're plugging into that, then it's going to be tricky. You might just need to think about how much input you are driving into the RE201 and then, reduce the output from the gain pedals and then turn the amps up. I would, of course, have it at the end before going into, or in a wet, dry, wet rig. In actual fact, I have made a decision I'm going to start using the tape delay.
Oh, I can't wait.
So that in my wet, dry rig, it'll go into the wet amp.
Yeah.
But being fed by the rest of the pedal board.
Yeah. If you want it overdriving, but it's analog. It's not. You don't have to worry about it like you have to worry about with digital.
Yes.
Stuff.
And it can sound really cool.
There's the magic.
Yeah.
And if you want to use it in the traditional kind of beautiful, clean, then you probably wouldn't be slamming it with overdrive pedals anyway.
Yeah.
So, as always, it's a compromise, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and you might have to turn down the effect and but You work it out.
Edward W. Theory. Hello, Edward. Quick question about the Volante's reverb. Is it a proper spring tank? Because you weren't 100% sure. We said, oh, it's got a proper spring reverb in it. We were referring to the RE201, so the Volante is all digiballs.
Yep.
Is there any chance in the future of a pedalboard-friendly spring reverb episode?
Funnily enough, we're going to shoot that today, yeah.
Yeah. Because he mentions the Carl Martin Headroom, Anna Sound. Mm-hmm. We got that? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Or even the old Dano Spring King. No prizes for guessing which one I own, he says. Which is, I assume you mean the Dano Spring King. You ever tried one of those?
No.
Funky.
Yeah?
Yeah. Far from beautiful, but
right.
Really cool and really effective.
So the small springs, the small tanks often are far from beautiful, but there's a quality to them that is quite awesome. And the great thing about the Anna Sounds, which we'll see today, it comes with 3 different tank sizes.
Oh, no way.
So you have the pedal, and then the tank is actually external, and you put that underneath your pedal board. It's really, really cool.
I see another Dan Spectacular coming on.
Okay. Also from Sam McMillan and Mike Buckman and a bunch of others wants to know about the TRex Replicator.
Yeah, why didn't we include that? I think I made a reference in one of the replies I made on YouTube, was that it would be a bit like putting a Big Muff into a Fuzzface comparison.
Sure.
It's a different thing.
It is
quite different. It's its own thing, isn't it?
Yep. It's a very cool thing, and it definitely has a sound to it. The guys have done a fantastic job with that thing. It's its own voice.
Yeah, and we couldn't choose everything, so we had to choose the things that we felt were most relevant that we could get done in an hour and a bit, as usual.
Yep.
Charlie McGonigal. Between this and the Volante video Anderton's put up, I don't think I've ever felt more inspired by a new pedal.
Yay!
So happy to see you guys pairing more amps together. The Supro and the Boogie sounded epic.
Didn't they sound great?
On that topic, what would be the ultimate amp pairing for you, Daniel?
Oh boy. Something Voxy.
Yeah.
But saying that, so the last gig we did, so it would normally be something Voxy and then something Tweedy, like my AC30 and my J20 has always been the go-to. But the last gig we did, where I had the MiG and the J20 together, and I'm like, this is sounding epic.
Yeah.
There may be an amp from an amp manufacturer that we both admire greatly coming out with something later that I'm very looking forward to trying,
which might satisfy the EL84
which might satisfy that thing. So we'll see. But yeah, whenever I've gone to the studio, that my SC30 and the J20 together, the way they pair, something happens and it's magic.
I'm glad you make that distinction, because in here, Blues Junior and an AC15 once recorded can sound every bit as magic as the high watt and the 2-rock.
Yep.
But in a big atmosphere where you need to move some air, something like the 2-rock and the high watt is about as crazy as it could ever get for me, but it's very hard to record.
Bill Phillips Tube, nice. I'm very impressed with the Volante, but I never know what to make of the Benson clones. The repeats are complex and full of vibe, but I always feel complicated and unusable to me. The demos of a guy noodling by himself while making guitar faces always sounds good. However, I just don't see how it fits in the context of a full band cranking away at a song with no space for repeats to bloom. And... ... a handful of people, including Vladimir Pavlovich, Ioana Abravanel, and Adam F., want to know if the Volante will go into Mixboard. The two things are related.
Yes, I put these two things together because what Bill Phillips Tube is saying that and a few people did say this, actually, it wasn't just Bill that said this. How on earth could you use something like the Echo X sound, because it's so complex? And surely it would just get lost in a band mix. Now, if you listen to a lot of Pink Floyd, you'll hear how it gets employed brilliantly in a band mix, right? Because the music suits it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're and so will it go on my board? If you do what me and he does, play rock music in a bar, then no, it's not going on my board because you literally never hear it.
Yeah.
You might hear it for a tiny bit of the Floyd song that we do, but the mix is just too dense to get that subtlety. So, as with everything, it's just got to suit your music, isn't it?
Yeah.
You probably would use it more.
Yeah, I think, I'm starting to write again, and just the way those sort of sounds inspire.
I sat in here putting stuff together all day, every day. Perfect.
Right.
But in that, when we're playing a Foo Fighters song or... yeah, you're not going to hear it, are you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so it's a really good point. It's a good point. On the other side of that is, if it inspires you to make a sound, and even if it's just simple repeats and you're really digging it, great.
Yeah, and if you're in one of those magic bands where the people in the band actually listen to each other when they play, and somebody's doing something nice over there and it's all lovely, and then the other person can be doing something underneath which is really, really lovely, and in that respect it might work. So Perfect. It might not be obvious and in your face, but yeah, it's completely music dependent, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we have some questions on the Mesophyll from Ricardo Lima Pereira, Corey Clark and Marcus the Monkey, plus Adam Rosette. What do we think of it?
What do we think of it? You really didn't like it, did you, to begin with?
So
we set it up one day and you said we're not using that.
The first day we set it up, it was so harsh. And it was to me it sounded like that bright switch, but like the worst of the bright switches. On. And 10. It's like, oh, God. But when we came in here to record and you'd had stuff going through it.
I've set up a loop and I let it play for an hour because I had a theory that the amp was absolutely brand spanking new,
right,
and the speaker needed to break in a bit, and so it just needed to sit. And
then after that, and we played it, and then suddenly all that glassiness started to make sense, and the brittleness seemed to have been lessened somewhat. Then when we paired it with the Supro, and they were doing two very specific jobs, right? All the glassiness and sparkle from the Fillmore. So I'm assuming that's akin to like a blackface.
Channel 1 is very Fendery and it has lots of presence and sparkle. Channel 2 is all that's gone and it's really mid-focused and lovely. And Channel 3, or Mode 3 should I say, Mode 2 and Mode 3 is much more heavy gainy. And to me it feels like a really great extension of what the Lone Star does.
Right, okay.
So you've got all those separate voices, but they've got two channels that are exactly the same. If I wasn't like a massive gain pedal freak and I just needed a straight amp to use that was versatile, a couple of reverbs or delays or whatever, I would pick that amplifier.
Yeah.
Because it just sits in those three places really lovely, and then you can duplicate that across two channels. It's gone back again. We were sat on it for ages, and then they needed it back urgently. But I love the chassis dimensions of it, because the Lone Star is quite deep, and quite a beefy amp, and that gives it a tonality all its own. It's a huge sounding thing, whereas the Fillmore is in a more kind of Fender Deluxe type size cabinet, depth cabinet, and I think it just makes it a bit breathier and a bit more open, especially in that clean channel.
Yeah,
killer amp though, really killer amp. I'm looking forward to trying the California Tweed as well, which is a new thing they've brought out.
Yes. Wallace Dye, among a few others, says a few months back we were given a look at Mick's latest pedal board, but we never got to look at Dan's. I would love to see what Dan uses.
Lots of people asking this.
Yeah, so it's on the way. I'm waiting for something, and as soon as it is here, then I shall do it. But I can't really do it until then.
We could have done it 6 months ago, and then we could have updated it. But as is the way with things, things never go quite as smoothly as you would hope, do they, Dan?
No. But it's on the way, and I'm quite excited about showing you guys.
Okay, two last questions. This is running long, actually, so we need to hurry up because we've got more filming to do today. Inaki Font says, a question not related to the episode. I play at home and have never built a pedal board. I've gathered 18 pedals so far. Would it be viable to build a board with all of them on? How many pedals is too much for one board? I don't gig. It would be for use at home and occasionally practicing with some friends.
18 pedals in a row. See,
it's going to cost you £2,000 to get them on a board together properly. £1,000.
Yeah,
fantastic power supply, which is isolated, all the right voltages, great patch leads, a nice board.
Yep.
It's going to cost a lot of money to
Yeah.
do it really properly.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. So the issue that you'll find if you're plugging all those pedals individually, plugging into amp and playing, they'll sound great. You put them all together, and then the signal that you get out of the end isn't going to be the same as what you're used to, which is one of the reasons why we use a switcher. But it's one of those things that, look, if you can, it all depends on the pedals and whether there's buffers and true bypass and all that stuff.
Start small.
There we go. Grab the pedals that you absolutely love and would play every day. And if that might be 3 or 4, and go with that, and then add as you need. And once you get used to the sound of those 3 or 4 pedals and you start adding things onto it, you'll start to hear any tonal changes that happen. Then you can investigate into sorting those problems out.
Yeah, because if you put 9 overdrives on, chances are you'll only use the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th very rarely.
There you go. Yeah.
So
Good
just
shout.
start small, anyway, we've said enough about that. Finally,
William Quire says, this video is great and all, but what about a 2-hour video of Mick swapping out various aged plastics on his Strat?
that video is coming up. I've gone mad. I've gone utterly insane, and I've got like 300 quid's worth of pick guards sat in there, and yeah, I've gone insane. So there's going to be this flash of insanity over the coming weeks, and then I'm just stopping. There's going to be no more insanity after that. It's going to end.
Right.
I haven't done any. I probably haven't done any insanity for more than 10 years.
Right.
I've just got that guitar and I love it and I play it, and then this insanity is set in. So we'll just let that run its course, and then the insanity will end, and then I'll get back to playing the guitar.
Very good.
I will share that journey with pleasure.
Excellent. Cheers, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thanks to our preferred retailers. All of the details in the links below. And massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon.
Thank you.
Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.